Welcome to Software Leaders Uncensored with Steve Taplin. Welcome to Software Leaders Uncensored, where tech leaders drop the filter and just tell it like it is. I'm your host, Steve Taplin, serial tech entrepreneur. I have 30 ventures under my belt. 20 of those failed, but 10 of those were big successes. The roller coaster of a ride of doing those is part of my new book, Fail Hard, Win Big. This is my life story of entrepreneurship. The raw, uncensored truth of how to use failure to fuel you, and how one of my secrets to the successes I've had is around custom software and what that does for your operations, for your end user experience, for your enterprise value. Now I'm the CEO of Sonatify Technology. We are a nearshore software development firm helping other firms with their engineering needs. And today I am joined by Dr. Paulo Silveira, Chief Technology Officer, co-founder, and board member of Structure. And trust me, you're going to want to hear this one, so let's go. Paulo, welcome.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you for inviting me to your podcast. I really appreciate being here. I'm looking forward to our great conversation today.
All right. If you would, Paulo, please give our listeners a couple-minute overview of the journey of your career and what's got you to co-found and be the CTO and board member of Structure.
Awesome. Yes, I'm happy to do that. Yeah, well, I started my career in academia. So there was a time when I measured success by number of papers I published. But I quickly moved to industry. I wanted to try new challenges. And then I started measuring by number of patents that I co-author, co-inventor with my co-inventors. Well, I started in optics, optical switching, and then ended up moving to medical applications. So it turns out that optics is a good way to monitor what's happening in the human body. After a few career moves later, I ended up at a company doing computer vision and 3D sensing. Well, it was a very interesting company that was quite successful developing sensors for developers in general. But it got to a point where my co-founder and I realized, hey, more than 80% of our customers today are in the medical industry. Coming from the medical industry, I realized how difficult it was to break into that, how to have a foot in the door. That company was interested in room scanning, home scanning for renovations, architecture. So at that point, my co-founder, Rasha, and I convinced the board to let us spin off as a separate company. So back in August 2022, we found investors and we started Structure. Today, we count with close to 4 million patient scans per year. And besides selling our sensor, we also sell our SDK. We have a few apps and cloud services. So a full platform that allows patients to receive personalized healthcare.
Amazing. And I want to go into that more. But, one of a few other questions about you. So you have over 80 patents and over 50 plus peer-reviewed publications. That's amazing. Now, what is your doctorate degree in?
Oh, in electrical engineering.
Gotcha. And how long ago did you get that?
Oh, you're aging me. From back in 2001.
Okay. So let me ask you a question.
It was right at the time of the dot-com boom and burst. So I rode both sides of the wave. So,
hey, I'm right there with you. So you have your academia background, your doctorate background. You've been involved in startups. You've been a co-founder. That's a diverse background.
Yeah.
Going through the challenges of making a business work.
That's right. Actually, that's interesting because part of what I did before my current position is that I helped companies out of academia become established. Here at CU Boulder, as at many other universities, they have a technology transfer office that help professors or academics start their own company based on technology that was developed at the university.
Okay.
So some of my early stints were based on companies that came through that path. And that gave me some initial experience developing things from scratch and also working with technology early on, like very applied technology and figuring out how to find commercial applications for something that has already proved itself in academia, but not yet in the commercial space.
Very interesting. All right. So tell us more about Structure.
Yes. Yeah. Structure, since we reinvented ourselves, well, today we helped 6 different companies get approved medical applications, and applications ranging from wound documentation all the way to a cancer treatment, going through pre-op planning and so on. So what we do is that we provide those companies with our hardware, our SDK, sample apps, and then some additional cloud processing. And that allows them to get to market a lot faster than if they tried doing everything on their own. So in some cases, we have shown the ability to help those companies get to market within a tenth of the time that would take them if they started from scratch.
Interesting.
One important thing that we learned, Steve, is that our customers, they were not interested in the 3D mesh that they extract. They wanted the information that it can get out of the 3D mesh. So we saw the opportunity then to add more value to what we give to customers.
Wait, you did something crazy like listen to the customer need?
Yeah, well, listen to and it's interesting, not only listen to what they say, but also watching what they do, right?
Right. I mean, listen to what they really want, which isn't always what they say they want.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. And many times they'll tell you something, but then they will adopt a solution that someone else gave them using our technology. And we looked at that and we thought, wait a minute, I know how to do that even better. Why am I letting someone else deliver value, right? So yeah, we see opportunity in those by watching that, and that led to IP development, which then led to new products that are coming down.
So tell us some fun tech projects you guys are working on now.
So yeah, using AI and computer vision tools, we are now able to find anatomic landmarks in the body. So when you scan a patient, you're able to tell where to find positions or anatomic places of interest. For example, a patient's face scanning is actually a very delicate point because of all the biometric implications. So yeah, it's not where we started, but today we are doing face as well. But it's a good example to give in a podcast because I can point at my face and say, well, I can find the center of my pupils and then I can measure the IPD. Okay, so center of my pupils are landmarks. IPD is a measurement based on landmarks. I can look at the width of my head. So important landmarks would be my autobasion points where it lands. My ear finds my face. That's useful, for example, I see where glasses, right? So if I'm trying to make custom glasses for you, Steve, knowing where exactly your ear meets your head is important. So I know how to make custom-made eyeglasses that will fit you exactly as you like them to.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So it allows us to do things like diagnostics, right? Personalized diagnostics. I think you heard that, you probably know that in 2001, there was this famous Human Genome Project where the human genome was first sequenced for the first time. It unlocked this promise of a personalized medicine. Well, the genome only tells part of the story about you. The other part is the so-called phenotype. What did you do? What happened to you since you were born and such? So by scanning your body, you have the other part of personalized medicine.
Isn't that the same way in Jurassic Park? They cloned the dinosaurs. It was kind of the same thing, right?
Well, I think that after you clone the dinosaurs, then you scan the dinosaurs.
Okay. Talk to us, Paulo, tell us about your software engineering team, how you manage it. Are you remote, hybrid, on site?
Mm-hmm. So that's an interesting story. Yeah, we're here in Boulder, Colorado. We have less than half the team here, mostly the hardware team. So as I described, we have a combination of hardware, software, and cloud. The hardware team is mostly located in Colorado, but we do have engineers all around the world, including in Asia, where we have manufacturing. But even here in Boulder, we are hybrid, meaning that we tell engineers, do your work wherever you can do it best. If you need to hunt down and do it at home, do it at home. If you need to collaborate, be with the team, have access to the labs, come over any time of the day or night. So yeah, we really give freedom to the team. And of course, we also give responsibility. They have goals that are accountable for. And these are goals that are defined quarterly and reviewed quarterly. So we do have methods and tools to make sure that the team is accountable, but then we're given freedom to meet their goals.
So when you're hiring your engineering team, what are the key traits you look for?
I would say there are 4 key things that we look in our engineers. So number 1 is that they have to be fluent in English. Okay, we all communicate in English. Second is that they, no matter where you're located, they have to have at least 4 hours of overlap with the headquarters in Boulder. Third one is that they have to be great communicators. And by that, I mean not just speaking English, but also writing. We use a lot of remote collaboration tools that allow us to be effective even by being remote. So being great communicators is a third required feature. And the fourth one, they have to be really good at what they do. Okay.
Gotcha.
So, Steve, that allows us to say that we look for the best talent we can find anywhere in the world.
What remote collaboration tools do you like? What have you
We
seen the
use
most?
Slack. At the structure, we use Google Suite. So things like Google Meet and Google Docs, GitLab for code collaboration, for MRs. Right. But I'd say Slack's probably the one that's used the most. There's
Gotcha. I didn't
email
know
too.
if
Sometimes
you
I
had
talk to
any
the recording email.
cool like I still haven't found a good like virtual whiteboarding tool that is as good at being in the room doing whiteboarding.
That's
I'm
true.
always
Yeah,
on
you
the
can see
lookout
behind me.
for
I
better
do have a
stuff.
whiteboard.
My best ideas in collaboration come from whiteboarding, and my company is remote as well. And we do have a hybrid office we go into for some of the team, and I'm still trying to figure out how to recreate virtual whiteboarding sessions to be as good as in person. Do you have a
I fully
patent on
agree.
that or a good idea there?
Yeah, well, there used to be a Google Whiteboard too, but that's gone. Even that one never was that great.
Yeah, a lot of them have come and gone, and
Correct.
hard.
More recently, well, for diagrams, we use draw.io, but also there is something else called Miro that we're trying that seems to be promising.
So tell us about your current tech stack and why you have those choices.
Yeah, so it's quite diverse given the different areas of focus we have, right? So for hardware, it's actually easy. We do Linux and embedded C. For the SDK, we prefer C++ as much as possible, but we are very much iOS based. Okay, so that means that you also have apps using Swift. For cloud, it's interesting because our manufacturing is in China. We are forced to do a hybrid solution where we have some in-house, we call it on-premise cloud services
Okay.
in addition to Google Cloud Platform. Okay, so yeah, we have an open socket that we use for transmitting data from the production line to our server in Boulder. For serving our customers, we usually use APIs based on Python to serve the API, but then C++ to do the heavy lifting behind on the back end.
Gotcha. So the fact that you guys, part of your business is on the hardware side and you have manufacturing in China, how have the craziness of tariffs affected your business? How are you guys managing that?
In fact, Steve, that's my main challenge recently. There were a couple of months earlier this year that instead of thinking about great new products, trying to help customers, I was forced to try to figure out how to revamp my supply chain. And at the end of the 2 months, we decided not to do anything. But still, that uncertainty lingers. And I would say the worst thing is the uncertainty. More than having to adapt, having that lingering doubt.
I don't know if Trump listens to this show. I doubt he does, but we could try to put a good word in, because he might sneeze or have a bad dream and, cause some more stir.
Tell us what you expect, and then we can react. But yeah, the uncertainty does cause friction.
Crazy. So through all your ventures and what you've done, what's kind of a big lesson that you've learned that you wish you would have known earlier in your career?
Steve, I wish I had earlier on looked for mentors. I did have great mentors throughout my career, but I would say early on, very beginning, I should have listened more, and not just listened, but actively sought feedback from people who today I know if I had looked for them and told them, please tell me more about career paths, options, your opinion. I know for sure that they would be delighted to sit down with me, have coffee, and give me feedback. But either in some cases, I would say probably I thought that I knew too much, didn't need feedback, was a mistake. Or in other cases, I thought, oh no, that person, they will never talk to me. They will not give me the time of the day. Both were mistakes. And that's something that only with experience I learned. So
I love it. And actually, in my book, Fail Hard, Win Big, I have a whole chapter around mentors and how it's a cheat code to going faster. Find somebody who's done what you're trying to do in your area, show them your eagerness, that you've researched them, and how easy it could be to find mentors when you approach them the right way.
That's right. Yeah, it's amazing how people are willing to help.
Well, that's great advice. What are some of the biggest business or technical outcomes you're focused on for the rest of the year?
Well, I mentioned 3D scanning, but it turns out that there is a lot more to be captured for the human body. So we are developing additional abilities to our sensors. It turns out that while you're 3D scanning someone or some body part of a patient, you can capture a lot more information from that. So we are augmenting the technical abilities of our sensors. So, and it's something that actually it's quite interesting because it's the type of work that requires collaboration between multiple teams. Okay, you can imagine, of course, that the hardware team may put some additional sensor into your device, but then you have to have software engineers figuring out the best way to use additional information, not just adding it, right? You want to fuse that sensing with other modalities you have so that you have something that it's more than the sum of their parts. Also leads to a very interesting new IP that is not obvious if you just hear about adding something or another. I will mention that we're looking into temperature, adding temperature to scanning, and more down the road. But yeah, it's the type of thing that, well, I already can diagnose some conditions by looking at the shape of the body. If in addition to shape, I can see the temperature, I can see what's going on inside, then it opens up all these new possibilities that don't exist today.
So, what are some of the biggest challenges or hurdles for you to keep pushing this forward?
Well, we already visited that uncertainty about what's happening next.
Yes, let's pretend tariffs, the problem goes away or at least stabilizes so you know where you stand.
Yeah. So aside from
Beside
that,
that.
then yeah, uh, always managing technical risk. Whenever you're doing something new, unique, first of its kind, it's what makes it challenging, but also what makes it so interesting, right? And Steve, you've probably seen that there are many cases in which there is like some breakthrough or some time, some technological milestone that enables a product that maybe you're not the first to dream it, but now it became possible. There is a market fit.
Mhm.
I give a very quick example. When micro hard drives enabled the iPod, okay, it was not the first idea to put music into a device, but all of a sudden it became possible. Well, if you know how to implement it right, you have a winner. So I would say addressing technical risk, retiring it, and finding that good product market fit as you progress without running out of money in the process.
Gotcha. Talk to us about how you're integrating AI, whether it's your engineering or your business operations.
Yeah, so different ways. One is um, learning how to use it as a new tool. So as engineers, always learning new tools. In fact, if you ask me which tools I ask today, and someone listens to the podcast 3 months down the road, they're gonna think, "Oh, wait a minute,
I
that."
was going to say, it usually takes us 2 weeks for post production. So by then it might be outdated.
That's right. Yeah. So, but anyway, we all know that, right? So it's also true that okay, today common word is vibe coding, right? Well,
Yes.
it became enabled finally, but it used to be a couple years back that if you tried some of these coding assistant tools, they're not very good. Okay, sometimes the code will not even compile, or if it did, it would not be really what you wanted. But I would say all of a sudden, a few months back, we saw real leap into quality of code available. It was one of my engineers who told me, "That thing you wanted to code, don't try it yourself. Just go to Claude or Gemini, ask him what he wants to do, and you'll be amazed." And lo and behold, I was. So today in the team, we use a lot of uh, uh, Gemini CLI, and I described as having your own intern helping you do your coding. It's quite powerful. But there is also the other side, using not using AI as a tool, but as a product. So I mentioned to you the ability to find anatomic landmarks in the human body and then using that to assist with diagnostics and therapy. So that's an example of that being embedded into our products.
It's hard to keep up with the advancements, to say the least. That's got us all on the hamster wheel because it's changing so frequently. But what an exciting time, to say the least.
That's
Paulo,
right.
thank you so much for getting uncensored with us today. Love to hear your background of going from academia to co-founding companies. It sounds amazing what you guys are doing with structure. Before we wrap, what final advice do you have for tech leaders out there trying to build, scale, or just survive in this time?
Well, definitely keep up with the latest tools. Do not limit yourself to talent locally. Do look at it wherever you can find it. And if you're an individual contributor, I would say, well, flip side of that, always reinvent yourself, always learn. There was a time, Steve, when I was worried that I was forgetting things until I realized, you know what, I'm learning things faster than I forget. So just keep learning.
Learn faster than you forget.
That's right. There you go. That's a good way to summarize it.
I like it. Paulo, thank you so much. That's it for this episode of Software Leaders Uncensored. I'm Steve Taplin. If you like the show, please go ahead and hit subscribe. If you didn't like it, well, then we're going to just tell your competitors about it. And Paulo's company is not going to give you any scans. So go ahead and do it. Remember, everybody, fail hard, win big, and make sure you're always building what matters. Till next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
That's a wrap. Another great episode of Software Leaders Uncensored. Thank you guys so much for listening. I really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun doing this show. I love talking with great tech leaders. As a side note, if you're interested, check out my new book, Fail Hard, Win Big. This is the story of how I built 30 companies, failed on 20, and turned 10 into multi-million-dollar wins. The common thread with all of them was custom software. Also, if you need software development help out there, my company, Sonatify Technology, we deliver world-class software development engineers out of Latin America. We have a solid track record of helping companies launch better products and faster. Thanks again for listening. Appreciate it and appreciate you.